Hey everybody, Paul Foster here with Secondhand Productions, and today I'm going to show you how I was able to make some rain. Really easy stuff to do. So don't go away. When we come back, we're going to do this. So I've got some footage here that I basically bought off of Pond 5, I think it was. It's just a camera shot going through a really cool looking foresty clearing thing. And I was like, yo, what if I could make it rain and then do some kind of crazy thing where I make it rain at night? Start out, just going to pull this down into my comp. But so now we've got our shot. And for the sake of what we're doing here, I'm going to trim this down because I'm only going to use probably, let's say we'll use, let's go with 6 seconds of footage. The first thing that we're going to do is I want to track the shot, and I need to, this is just my approach. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to do it, but I like to do this just because for some reason in my head, it's kind of important to kind of create that 3D world as best I can. And when I track footage, you can do it in a lot of different ways. Sometimes I use tracker, like I'll use a camera tracker, especially if I got a real stable shot. And so we're going to go ahead and use that on this particular shot because I'm pretty sure I can get it's stable enough, and I've got enough interesting objects in here that I can pull this off. So we're going to let it run its course real quick. All right, now we've got, let's see how well it tracked a lot of these. It actually did a pretty good job. I thought there was enough stuff in here for it to really kind of give me a solid track and not be a problem. Now, you could also done this with Mocha or any other, you could have done this with Blender. You could have done it with Cinema 4D. This is just my approach. So if you have another approach, definitely do share. So the thing I'm looking at is I just want to get the camera motion. So as long as I've got something in that sticks around, I want the objects to stick around. So if I have like here, these three, let's see what it does. Let's see if that holds. Let's right click, and we're going to create a null and a camera from that. And I want to see how well that null tracks. Seems to be tracking pretty good. Then we'll switch over to our 3D camera. And then if I go to a 4 view, I should see the camera moving. Yeah, it's not moving that far, so this is pretty good. I'll take it. Cool. All right, let's go back to our 1 view, and this is our null. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new solid. I'm going to make it a black solid. Select OK, and I'm going to drop trap code particular on my said blank solid. You always want to throw that on a black solid. Now, getting into the settings on how we're going to make it rain. The effects builder, I generally don't. Sometimes I use the effects builder, but for the most part, I don't. I kind of break my workflow into. I go into each section. I make the changes I need to. So the first thing, I definitely want the emitter to be a continuous emitter. We can leave the particles at 100 right now. I don't want it to be point. I want it to be box. And then if I see where we are, that's a, no, cancel that. Oh, that's interesting. No. All right, so it has it right here in the middle. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to come on down to, just so I can see what it looks like, I'm going to do a pre-run of 100 seconds. That way it starts out, the video starts out with that. But you notice how we're kind of going right through it. It's it kind of like you get about halfway and you've gone through everything. And what you have to do is you have to actually increase the, you kind of change the position, but you actually increase the emitter size. And so, right now it's in the middle. I can leave that position there, but I think if I don't move it back some, which is there, and then I need to kind of move it up to here, but I'm not going to do that quite just yet. And then I want to bring this down to here. But so what this is going to do is once I apply gravity and velocity, the range gonna start coming down. So we'll go linear. I really don't know the difference between linear 10x and linear smooth. I should look that up one of these days. I haven't done that. Uniform, I'm going to go directional because I want it to go down. I don't want it to kind of like flow in a orb-like thing. State, I guess you'd say. Directional spread, I'm going to bring this down to next to nothing. That way we get this nice line. So it's like if I look at where it's going right now, you see it's kind of going up. And I'm going underneath it, which is funny. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to set my emitter size. So whereas I had this right in the middle, you see how it's kind of pulling on it? It's like shrinking it back down. The emitter's got to be as big, if not bigger, than the space that I'm working in. So I'll say 5,000. Why not? Okay. Now I'm getting an idea of what my range is here. Okay. So when I go like this, you can see that they're just kind of like generating. They're not really doing anything. You notice how that it stops right there. Stops right where I go past them. So if I take my position and I kind of move it back, I can move it back and then make sure that I always have, rain in front of me. And so we'll bring this up just a hair. And then as you can see, the camera started to turn to the left. So I'm going to continue to adjust my emitter size until I get it across the entire screen. So let's go 10,000. That'll do it. Now I need to go. I need my emitter size. Y needs to go to probably about we'll say 1,000, and then I need to pull this guy back. And once again, this is so small you can barely see it. So I'm just going to increase my particles so you can see how much is there. Now this definitely will slow the machine down if you started trying to do some crazy stuff with it. But then I'm going to start pulling this forward, and we're going to go about 10,000. Now I've got a complete range here that I'm going through. You see it goes all the way past my marker. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our particles. So right now I have got the life set to 3 seconds, but I need it to last for the length of the clip. So I'm going to set it to 10 seconds. That right there should increase the size of the number of particles we have. Okay. And then I'm going to switch it from a sphere to a streaklet. I'm going to drop down here my streaklets. I'm going to set my random seed to say 5, and number of streaks we're going to say 25, and then the streak size is good. If I look at my gravity, and I think if I go negative, it's going to go down, or is it going up? I don't remember. I think it's going up. I need it to go down. So we'll go say 450. And let's see what it does. Yeah, now it's falling. It's snowing. It's beautiful. There you go. Visibility, this is kind of interesting. You can have it start to fade off after a certain distance. So as you can see, the stuff that's really close is very, very bright, and the stuff that's really far away should be, should be fading away. So let's see. There we go. Now we see things are Okay. There you go. So what you're doing is we're setting a depth. That way the stuff that's farther away is not as noticeable as the stuff that's up close. And I don't really worry too much about the distance. Let's see. So we're going to set this probably around 2100 is good. Okay. So, and then the last thing we're going to deal with is our rendering. So you can use camera settings. You can set the particle amount on your render, your blend mode. You can mess with that. Main thing I want to do now is I need to have a motion blur. And so I'm going to turn motion blur on. And then, let's see, we're going linear. And then you can set your shutter angle and your shutter phase. So if the higher I go with my shutter angle, the more choppy and dragged it's going to look. Right? So you see it's if I play it now, it's going to take it a second. No joke. That's how easy it is. So when you look at it like that, let's get some we'll get a few more squares. Let it kind of get going. Okay. So if you look at it, now that's a lot. What it's doing is it's kind of coming down. It's like at an arc. So what you have to do, the only way you can make that work is you can increase the gravity or the velocity, or you can change the source from the emitter, because remember, it's like shooting out of a fountain. So if I go like this and I crank it all the way up to 9,000 and I move this down here, it's going to take it a second. But once it's resets, you'll see all these little droplets. There it goes. Now you see all the little droplets. So the solution is when it's like this, you can see that there's a source right here, and I can move this up and change kind of like the angle at which that stuff's going to fly at me. And then it'll come at me from a higher angle, and it'll look more like it's coming straight down instead of it just spewing from a distance. There we go. So now we're going to go quarter, and we're going to let you see how this looks. So fit the screen, and that actually looks pretty good. We got our shutter speed down on so that it's not choppy, and we could probably lower our gravity. The gravity pull's kind of high. It's just a little bit high, but let's see what it looks like. Yeah, I mean it's coming down pretty heavy, pretty fast. So what I would do is I would take this and I'd bring this down to that. Now I'd probably bring this down to bring the total count down, and then you just play with it. I mean, that's all you got to do is you got to play with it, and you're gonna find a happy medium that's gonna work for you. And that's really all you got to do. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'd probably add an adjustment layer, and then we would go ahead and pull in. And I think part of the problem is, hold on a second. I think part of the problem is I did this. Let's see. And this is quarter view, so it's not like, let's go full. Let's bring this over so we can get a better look. Pull this down. Fit. Let's see. There you go. Now it's getting there. I think I had stretched the black backdrop up a little too far, and it kind of messed with it, but that actually looks pretty realistic. So you can tweak with the thing all you want. You can you can up the gravity, you can reduce the number of particles. Obviously, the fewer particles you use and the smaller space you do it in, the less of a taxing is going to be on your machine. My machine's not a bad machine, but it just goes to show that there you go. There's some rain for you. It's nice and gentle, and but then all I would do is I would go and I would add lumetri to. I mean, I use lumetri a lot. I like to do that. Obviously, most people would use a professional coloring package, maybe something from Red Giant or something from Black Magic, as in DaVinci. But you want to, if you wanted to just get creative real quick, they got a lot of really cool little simple looks in here. And if I want to make it look like it's nighttime or dark out, let's see, where's my night view? Oh, didn't mean to do that. Was it blue steel? No, it's really yellow. Got a lot of. There it is. There we go. So now I've got my night, and then if I want to really kind of like just adjust it quickly, all I need to do is I could go into back into my look, and I can mess with the intensity, or I can make some other adjustments, and I can increase my vibrance. I can reduce my saturation a little bit, maybe not too far. I'd like to keep some of this, but then I can also go into my basic correction, and I can adjust my temperature a little bit to give this a little bit more of a night feel to it, and then I can adjust my contrast a little bit, and maybe bring my saturation down a little more, bring my shadows in, and then next thing you know, it's raining at night. So there you have it. We've got some rain. You can make that more in depth by making adjustments to your particular kind of setup for Trapcode. I've used Trapcode for several years. I really enjoy it. I think it's a great plugin. I don't know if I'd have to check, but I don't know if Red Giant's selling it for beyond After Effects 2017. I know I can make it work, and it's you just have to copy it into the right folder for it to work in 2019 and 2020. But it's still a cool tool, and you can make it rain. And then if you wanted to add some additional effects, you go into your adjustment layer, and if you wanted to do some other things like make it add kind of like a more dynamic thunderstorm, you could do that real easy with lumetri and some expressions. But I'm going to save that for next time, and I hope you guys found this video useful. I hope if you have any questions, definitely hit us up in the comments below. If you have ideas or suggestions on tools that you're using that you could accomplish the same effect or a better version of this effect, please let me know. I'd love to know. Until next time, you guys keep filming, and we will see you later.